Hello, everybody, and welcome to MangaPod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week, we're doing Bleach, bitches.
Yeah.
Chapters 1 through 50. Yeah. I'm Erin, Happily Erin, your host, and with me are two of my three lovely co-hosts, as well as a very special guest. We'll have everybody go around and introduce themselves, please.
Hi, guys. I'm Dodger. And, I got very confused tonight, but it's fine because I've read Bleach a million times, so let's do this shit.
I like that you have no background other than that. They just now know that you've read Bleach a million times.
Now they know. I've read Bleach before. Well,
very profesh. Very
Spoilers.
Always.
My name is Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. What up, everybody? Excited to talk about something that reminds me a lot about, like post-high school, like right in college years. I'm old. Hi, everybody.
That's what Bleach reminds you of.
Yes, it reminds me of how old I am. It also reminds me kind of that I feel kind of like a failure as a person because I just realized that Titty Kubo was 24 when it was first published.
Oh no.
So I'm not much younger, or I'm not much younger than him. So I feel like I haven't accomplished
that. Just brought the whole podcast down.
Oh god.
Like, oh no.
But then I remember where Bleach ended up, and I'm like suddenly a little bit more okay with myself.
Now that I know he was 24, it makes a lot more sense where it kind of went from there. But anyway, I'm Sungwon, also known as ProZD. Happy to be here and talk about Bleach, which I have not really thought about for a long time. But man, did this bring back a whole lot of memories and a whole lot of opinions. So,
perfect.
Mainly positive ones. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I'm looking forward to getting into this.
Awesome.
That's always the best. The best sort of a situation when you go back to something and you're like, man, that was still great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Especially an older series that you read forever ago.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We're so excited to have you. If you guys have never joined us for MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read. That will be read by our lovely guest. And then we'll give you a spoiler-free recommendation from each and every single one of us, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you are interested in, you can take your leave once we get to spoiler section and go read it, and then come back and watch the VOD of this on my YouTube channel where all the previous MangaPods are hosted. We are talking Bleach, which is an older series, but we still ask that nobody spoil anything, just in case there's the little person who doesn't want to be spoiled. Please do not spoil anything until we get to spoiler section, and then once we get there, please don't spoil anything past chapter 50. Yeah. So, sir, if you don't mind reading.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Ichigo Kurosaki has always been able to see ghosts, but this ability doesn't change his life nearly as much as his close encounter with Rukia Kuchiki, a Soul Reaper and member of the mysterious Soul Society. While fighting a hollow, an evil spirit that preys on humans who display psychic energy, Rukia attempts to lend Ichigo some of her power so that he can save his family. But much to her surprise, Ichigo absorbs every last drop of her energy. Now a full-fledged Soul Reaper himself, Ichigo quickly learns that the world he inhabits is one full of dangerous spirits, and, along with Rukia, who is slowly regaining her powers, it's Ichigo's job to protect the innocent from hollows and help the spirits themselves find peace.
Nice.
Spooky.
It's almost like
All right, spoiler-free recommendations. Would anybody like to go first? Has anyone got some?
I'm down to go first.
Do it, Dukes.
I was so into Bleach in college that it's kind of hard to put it into words. Again, just to be clear, I got very confused about this week, so I didn't wind up rereading this week. But I have read it multiple times. Like that's how much I enjoy at least this very beginning part. I think what we read is pretty solid. So yeah, I definitely recommend Bleach.
Yeah, do I recommend reading these first 50 chapters? Yeah, they're pretty good. Do I recommend reading all of Bleach? No. We can talk about that a little bit more later. But these first 50 chapters made me go, wow, this had a really... and I've got some opinions. I got some thoughts I'll go into. But yeah, I really, really like these first 50. And there's some stuff in here that I kind of wish stuck with it as it went on. But alas, it did not.
As somebody who has never read Bleach before, I loved these first 50 chapters. I was a huge fan of shonen, which that makes me sound stupid because I'm a huge fan of shonen. I haven't read Bleach, so that makes me sound fake, but I promise I love shonen. It's just a fake weeb. It hit every single stellar point that makes a good shonen. It hit all of those in these first 50 chapters. It got great characters. It has really great action, emotion, great story, all of that. And so I absolutely loved these first 50 chapters, and I recommend going and checking them out.
I'm going to echo these opinions. I have a lot of nostalgia for this series. I've been watching anime basically my whole life, but I didn't really start reading manga till college. And it wasn't until one day I was walking through a college bookstore that I saw manga on the shelf, and I saw Bleach, and I'm like, holy shit, I've seen this show. So I picked up the manga, which it was a volume way later than what I'd seen. I realized instantly that I hadn't read or seen this part, so I put it down. But it was one of the very first manga I'd ever experienced. So yeah, I recommend reading this section, maybe a little bit further, but not too much further because it kind of falls off a cliff.
Oh no. I'm so sad. I don't want to read any more of Bleach.
Just keep it pure. Keep it pure.
That's all I want to know. Awesome. Well, there you have it. We definitely recommend going and checking out the first 50 chapters of this. We're now going to jump into spoiler section. That means if you don't want to be spoiled, now's the time to take your leave. Otherwise, we can't, you know what is going to be spoiled, so it's your bad. So, sorry. It's all good. Countdown, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't know who's
Ichigo's
got.
gun? Ichigo? Maybe?
Tite Kube. Kubo?
See, here's-
Kubo.
Titty's got.
Titty's got.
There we go. As they
Sweet.
should be.
Did it. Usually what we'd like to do when we get to this section is ask what were you expecting before reading this manga. I think everybody, you know, we've already kind of hit expectations a long time ago for most people here. But were you guys thinking going back and reading it or coming back to discuss it? What are your guys' thoughts? Were you looking forward to discussing it? How you guys feeling?
I was looking forward to it. Because I really enjoyed the first part. I even enjoyed the arc after this. It's the arc after that it gets a little, but you know, for me, this first 50 chapters, for me, it's like the difference between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Like, I really love Dragon Ball, and I like Dragon Ball Z. And the first 50 chapters here have like a goofiness to them that I kind of wish that it had stuck with it as it went on. And I guess we can talk about what happened in the first 50 chapters, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Like-
Yeah,
you're
we are
good.
in spoiler
Spoilers.
section. Everything's fair
Right,
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything good.
All the antics in the town and the characters in the town, I really like. And it's kind of like a lot of these characters get chaozu'd after this, like, first
It's
50
true.
chapters. Like, they kind of stop being completely relevant after this. And he kind of has that problem even in later arcs. He'll introduce 80 characters, and then most of them stop being relevant after a certain point. I'm not going to go... Anyway, I was excited to get into it because I liked this first part so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I was definitely going into this reading thinking that, all right, it's Bleach. I've seen this section of the anime. I don't even know how many times. It's always been one of those shows that's kind of just on in the background, and when something cool is gonna happen, I'll stop what I'm doing. I'll go check out what's what's going on the screen. And honestly, like when I approached the manga, and I started immersing myself in the reading, I kind of had this like wave of nostalgia overtake me where all the like the music and everything that I really enjoyed from the anime, just kind of all those memories came rushing towards me. So as I got further into it, like first it was just okay, you know, we're wrapping up reading all of the big three because we've already read parts of One Piece and Naruto. So it was time to eventually get to Bleach because why not? And as I read more and more of it, I got more interested in the idea of it and more excited to continue reading. And I'm glad we picked the stopping point that we had because otherwise we'd have to read like another 100 chapters or so, or some ridiculous amount.
It was really hard for me to choose where we should stop.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect spot because the chapter like right after this it starts going into like whole different territory.
Totally.
Yeah. That's what I thought when we hit that stopping point. I was like, we usually don't read 50 chapters unless it's like a shonen. We'll read about 40 just because they go so quickly. But I'm very happy that we went to 50 with this because it was like the perfect stopping point.
How many do you usually read for each manga?
It depends on how long the chapters are.
If the chapters are about this long, normally we aim for 35 to 40-ish.
Gotcha.
But I was like, do you guys mind reading 50? It's a lot of action, I swear.
Yeah. When like
It goes
with like
fast,
sports manga and action, we tend to read a little bit longer. When we're reading stuff like Poon Poon, we tend to read shorter amounts, even though it's so good. But it's a lot. It's very taxing to read like 5 volumes of Poon Poon at once.
Oh God, yeah.
And so we usually read about. This is a little bit more than we usually read, but I was very happy. Like going into this, I know I've heard so much about Bleach forever, and like I said, I watched the anime forever, like a while ago too, but I didn't watch past, I think, the next arc after this. So I had forgotten most of it. I knew the main points and I can vaguely recall some of the stuff, but I didn't remember the humor or exactly where stuff is going or what character details and what the specialties are and stuff. And so I loved getting to experience that again and going into it kind of very fresh. I think mine is the most fresh viewpoint out of everybody's here, and I absolutely loved it from start to what we finished reading.
I think something that, for whatever reason, something that I always forget about because it becomes irrelevant to him as a character so fast, is that at ground zero of Bleach, I always forget that he starts off clairvoyant. That like he already can like see and sense things. Yeah. Because, you know, once he's like a Shinigami or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, but I forget that that's like an aspect to his family in general.
Yeah, I forgot that his sister also is the same, like also can see them too, which is interesting.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved that he had a family, first of all. I love that he had a family. That made me happy.
He's living alone, 15 years old in his apartment.
Classic.
And I love that they had such a big importance to the story too. They weren't just there. They were involved in almost every single chapter or every single little storyline that they had. I loved seeing that and having the sister be able to see as well, and like how the dad couldn't see at all. Seeing how it how it went into every aspect of his family life, I really liked too.
Yeah.
So it bums me out that suddenly is just like, hey, and tossed aside later.
Yeah, especially the sister. Like, I really like Karin, the sister. Like, she's a really cool character, and like her interacting with Chad, like where like Chad like saves her. I was like, man, this is so good, and like having these characters interact. And in the back of my mind, I was like, too bad all these characters are not gonna matter.
No.
Like when he introduces literally over like 20 new characters and they take over the show, like it sucks. Like I really like Tatsuki. I think she's a great character, and I kind of wish that she had like joined the crew, so to speak, like had also gotten some kind of power, because otherwise, you know, Orihime and Chad get powers, but Tatsuki just kind of after this, she's
and
she's
she's such a dynamic character. I feel like
right.
She deserved to have something.
Like some punching powers. I don't know.
Yeah, some punching powers.
I think Kubo, after a certain point, rather than focusing on building characters, he wanted to cultivate factions, because that's what Bleach turns into later. Is just different groups of people vying for power and characters within them, but never of greater importance than the group.
Yeah.
Which I feel like ultimately, when you focus on large groups, like I guess I can't mention names, but when you focus on developing large groups like that, like you lose out on characterization. Because you have to divide. You only have so many panels and pages that you can work with, so all of that has to get divided amongst the group.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
really.
feel like there was a lot that was lost by the change in direction that happens later.
Oh yeah, definitely. One thing about Titty Kubo here. Sorry. One thing that Titty is, he's very good at character design. He's really good at it. And but what's great about these first 50 chapters is the designs are really good, and each character is very well characterized. But then, and I won't talk about what happens later, but as later it is like, hey, here's 20 characters, really cool designs, but half of them don't have personalities, and half of them are underdeveloped or whatever. Like a few of them are cool, and then like that. But it's cool. I like having that, like these. Reading this was like weird because it like was cool reading it again and enjoying it, but it bumming me out that it just wouldn't stay like this forever.
That's so sad. That's like a sad feeling.
It's
You're just like, I love it, but oh no.
Yeah, there is like a nice feeling with the simplicity of how a lot of these really long manga start out, right? Like even with introducing like some of the Quincy storyline and all of that, I was like, oh man, remember when things were simpler?
Right, much simpler.
It just warmed my heart a little bit. But yeah, I remember thinking that a lot even when I first started reading Bleach, that it was nice that every single character stood out in some way. I was never ever confused about who was who when reading Bleach, which is so nice.
Yeah. Even when they have like Koran and Ichigo in the same panel, I'm like, I know there's two of you.
Yeah, and
you're the same person.
They do some funny stuff with that too, and the facial expressions really make it so you completely know who's who. Yeah. Like, which I thought was a fun sort of thing. I would like to see a version of Bleach where it's just like a slice of life in the town. Sure, some demons come some hollows come every now and then, but if it just stayed in the town, I don't know, maybe that could have helped it, because I don't know. I enjoy this so much, and I like the next arc, but I don't know. I tend to like slice of life stuff in general anyway. Yeah. So
I agree with that. Like as I was reading, because I know they go into a different I loved. I know, that's why I mumbled. They don't go anywhere, ever. I loved everything that had the slice of life part of it. Like the humor was so good. And I think that played a lot because of all the other characters around them that kind of like kept them in reality and like away from the whole demon stuff. There was still that side of it. And so that's something I loved so much. And I think made these 50 chapters what it is. And so I agree. I would love to see Bleach just stay this for however long and see what they could come up with, and the little adventures. I love seeing little adventures. Having cool fights and all of that can totally be in there, but them having the little adventures is so, I love it so much. Just seeing the characters' relationships grow and how they influence each other.
Yeah, there's some funny ass hijinks in there, like having Rukia like be like at school, she's this like very sweet, polite disposition, and then you know, the contrast between that and her real sort of like, hey, Ichigo, dumbass, come over here. Like, that's really funny. Even the classmates are all really funny. There is a lot of humor. He's really good at, because there are a lot of manga and anime that are really bad at humor. But his panels are really good. Like his timing with some of his jokes are really, really good.
I think. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I wonder how much of that change in direction came from Kubo and how much of it came from the editorial staff. Because I have read on numerous occasions that Kubo is really difficult to work with, and he ended up going through a bunch of different editors.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering how that influenced how the manga developed.
Sure.
Was there anything in there about like, did he like more light comedic stuff, or did he really want to take it dark and edgy?
That's what I haven't been able to find. All I've been able to find are just articles mentioning that he's just difficult to work with.
Yeah.
I suspect the dark and edgy route. I think that's probably
No.
cool.
Maybe he wanted to be a slice of life boy. Maybe he just wanted Ichigo to have cake with his friends.
And the editors were like, nah.
And
they were like, no, there's got to be ghosts. And he's like, cute ghosts? And they're like, no, mean ghosts.
I want K on Bleach. K on with Con.
Oh my god, yes.
Come on, it's perfect. You kidding me?
When you're talking about comedic timing, I think one of my favorite chapters is when they have the super flashy TV dude come in, and then the next chapter after that, where the teacher's going, you guys are fucking on TV. You are ruining our school name. And they're all just standing there like, what?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts, is just all of them trying to figure out how to get out of the detention. And I loved how it happened. So it's just little character interactions like that I think made me love this section even more. So, what did you guys think? So we have, in terms of plot, we have Ichigo in the first chapter. Obviously, he becomes the Soul Reaper and stuff. So how do you guys feel about how he entered into the whole world and the monsters and the whole Soul Reaper world and everything? Because it's probably been a long time since it's obviously a long time since you guys have read it. But in terms of like his character and where he is now, like at the start, how do you guys feel about him?
About Ichigo?
Yeah, about Ichigo.
I think it does work better that, even though I said that I always forget about this aspect to him, I think that it's more believable that he turned into a Shinigami. That he was able to like absorb all of that power and control it. The fact that they established that he already has like connections to like the spirit world, you know? So I never had any kind of a problem with that. Like in some shonen manga and anime, you watch it and you're like, come on, this fucking dude, like like why him?
This boring ass piece. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And this one, in Bleach, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like he's a dynamic dude who's already clairvoyant, and it was just like the perfect storm with Rukia, you know? And I like that Rukia still manages to be like a really cool, strong character without her powers. I think that they balanced that and their relationship really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost forget she doesn't have powers.
Totally.
She has such a strong personality. But then you're like, oh yeah, like she doesn't need the powers because she's just badass in general.
Yeah.
Like the origin of Ichigo as a character and how he developed in this early stage, I like it. I think it works well. But on the other hand, I'm reminded a lot of this early section of Yu Yu Hakusho, like the very beginning of Yu Yu Hakusho, where out of nowhere he develops, or he gets this crazy power, and he has to be involved with spirits. And I don't know, like I feel like I've seen the tropes there, but this is a major manga that is meant to build off of tropes, and Bleach, at least the early section of that, does that well. And I feel like as a protagonist, Ichigo is at this point in the manga pretty fun to watch, fun to read. So I have no complaints about where he started off, or anything apart from the fact that I feel like he was too accepting of that change in his life. Like, yes, he had to do what he needed to do to save the Hollow, but the fact that he was like, the pacing of him being okay with the fact that he's a substitute Soul Reaper felt like it was a bit rushed.
Yeah, I think because so often in manga you see the character who suddenly has new power, but also has an incredibly amount of strength where they're going, oh, he's the chosen one, like that kind of a thing. It didn't bother me at all in this. It usually bothers me, but in this it didn't, because he was such an endearing character from the start. Because he seems like that delinquent kid, but it's an act that he's built over the years. But he's just really goofy. He's got the goofy side of him, the endearing. He obviously cares about his family, and he's really funny. And the fact that he does good grades, like he gets good grades, made me really happy. So it's just like he has those tropes, but at the same time, he has his own characteristics that makes him unique. And so I like seeing him succeed, and I like his speeches and seeing him fight and everything, because I just love his character so much from the get-go.
Yeah. What's
To be
interesting?
honest, go for it.
What's interesting about Ichigo is that I don't think not even in a bad way, but he doesn't really change that much through these first, like personality-wise or his beliefs in the first 50 chapters. Like he's pretty not static, but he doesn't change that much. But he's already very likable from the beginning, which I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten that Ichigo was capable of being charismatic and interesting. Because he kind of
freaking Erin out so bad.
Like,
Ichigo,
he's
no!
in the beginning, he's so cool. Like he's like this, like kind of tough kid. Like, hey, you knocked over the ghost girl's vase. You know, oh, I'm a sweetheart, but I'm a tough guy. He's really likable and really funny and really dynamic, and that doesn't stay that way for the rest. But so it's interesting. It's interesting that. I was not expecting that Ichigo would be one of my favorite characters in these first 50 chapters, going back to it, but he's really funny.
Yeah.
Would you say that maybe Titty wrote himself into a corner by having Ichigo start at such a high point?
Cool at the beginning.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, because where's the character arc? Because I feel like a lot of other stories take advantage of the fact that the protagonist starts off as weak and maybe not wholly unlikable, but certainly in that direction, and then give them more room to grow. Versus Ichigo is already at the ceiling of, wow, this guy is fucking awesome, to what has to happen next, and that's, being a sad edgy boy.
Yeah,
I think that's a
hard to
very
talk
good
about
point.
without spoiling stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard to, because
he stays cool. He never gets edgy.
He definitely has like a character arc for sure. It's just like this sort of carefree, cool Ichigo isn't the Ichigo we have forever.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good point, actually. That the character does start out because with Naruto, he's immature, he's kind of dumb. You have a lot of these protagonists. They're never your favorite character. I mean, you like them enough, but they're always like, there are better characters. But Ichigo does start out pretty strong, and maybe I think you have a point there. I think maybe he wasn't sure what to do from there, and he does do some stuff. Like, again, I won't say anything specific, but I don't know. It's a good point.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the mom backstory still, even though it is one that you see very commonly, not just in anime manga, but in general store media. I still really enjoyed it. And I think a big part is because he had the rest of his family there and seeing how each of them deal with the loss. And also Rukia's respect of Ichigo, and it wasn't a big drama thing. Like, the emotion was let to settle with it. And so it was very sad, but it didn't feel super in your face, feel sad, draw emotions from the reader. I thought it was very, it felt very organic within it. And I did cry when the dad was talking to him about how his mom would be proud of him. I was like, no! And so I really enjoyed,
suit, like smoking and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. When because his mom said he looked cool when he smokes, and then this is the only day he smokes. Oh, it hit me. It hit me hard. And I also enjoyed, because the monster that he fought against, Ichigo didn't beat him. Right? He got away, and so I enjoyed that part of it, that he didn't suddenly get really incredibly powerful and was able to take this on just because he had these emotions. I like that he landed a hit and was able to go at with him, but I enjoy that the guy got away. I liked that.
Important to have losses every now and then, otherwise it just gets monotonous.
Yeah. What do you guys think about our side characters? Our lovely cast of side characters. Chad. Should we talk about Chad?
I love Chado.
Chad Sado.
I love him.
Chad. He's so good.
He's a precious sweet boy.
I love that he loves cute things. I love that he's just a super sweet boy, but also can lift the telephone pole. And I love that. I love that contrast.
He's like if you took the main guy from Ore Monogatari and then put him into a supernatural shonen manga.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're so precious. I hope that you have a happy life.
Loved him. I liked getting to see how he slowly, like all of this, like Ichigo's friends, how they slowly started getting more and more into the spirit world and able to see ghosts and then getting their powers. And I just loved seeing Chad's development with his story with the bird. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where he just kept hitting the monster, not because he could see him. He was just like blindly swinging at him.
There's a lot of funny panels where you're just like, in the background. And Karen's like, no, not there. And the humor was so good. I love
stuff like that. The contrast between people who can see it and people who can't, and like making that evident through humor it really lands.
Yeah. It was good.
I love Rukia. Rukia is so good. Like in the relationship that she has with Ichigo, it's such a fun dynamic. Man, I really like I like Orihime a lot too. She's really, I think she's really funny. Maybe the jokes are a little more hit or miss with her, but overall she's just a sweetheart. Yeah.
I love her because it's so easy to do her type of character wrong. And make her really whiny and helpless and all of that, but she's trying, and she's just so genuinely sweet, and she cares about people, and she's a little dense, and so they like poke fun at that, but they aren't overdoing it with her. It's not just an endless stream. I think he puts it in at good moments. He doesn't overdo it, and so I really love her as a character. She could get annoying, and she doesn't. And the same like with Rukia. I like that she's not blushing every time Ichigo looks at her, anytime they make fun of their relationship, like there's no weirdness with that. So like you said, they're dynamic. I love their dynamic together, just how they play off one another.
Let me ask all of you, do you ship anyone in these first 50 chapters? Is there any shipping?
All of them. I ship all of them together.
Okay.
Orgy.
OT 15.
Okay. One big pile. Okay.
Rukia and Ichigo, I feel like I don't know. I love them together, both as bro TP and OTP. I think
that's how I feel too. Like I don't need them to be romantically involved, but man, I get it. Like they work really well together. I do like Ichigo and Ori. Like I think it's sweet that Orihime like has a big crush on Ichigo. Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point I was probably a Ichigo Rukia.
Yeah.
Ichiruki fan.
Yeah, and I think it's even, I just love all of their friendships so much that I didn't even think about romance with it. I just love how everybody is such good friends.
Yeah, I like how it's more about building the characters to be their own people as opposed to building them for relationships with Ichigo.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, they don't like hint at a Ichigo Rukia thing at all. I'm just like, yeah, but I get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally get it, no, I get you.
That's the ship that I'm on right there.
Yeah.
Well, how about this character? How do we feel about Uryu? Ishida Uryu.
Oh,
I fucking love Uryu. He's such a piece of shit.
What a dumbass.
He's just so like I feel like he juxtaposes the whole like atmosphere of all of the other characters being like, we gotta fight, but we're all friends, and like there's some funny moments, and Uryu is always so fucking serious about everything.
The scene, oh my gosh, I died laughing in the scene where Ichigo comes in. It's like, I finally found you, but first I gotta kick this guy's ass, and he grabs like what's his name, the little lion dude. Khan. He grabs him and starts fighting with him, and then Rukia comes in, and there's all three fighting, and you're like, what is happening? You're just a little
like, pay attention to me. No, what are you doing?
One of my favorite comedic moments there. But yeah, he's so serious, but it like leans over to ridiculous and just makes you be like, oh baby, oh sweet baby, you.
Right.
One of those Sasuke-esque characters that you slowly realize is kind of just a big dork and not Sasuke.
Yeah.
That's my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah, right.
I love that
I like that I like that they show him like sewing, or he like does sewing in the classroom, like he's a doll, which is a funny thing. Yeah.
And the girl's so happy.
Right. He's like,
Aw.
it's not. You don't need to be happy about that. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. What a fucking dork. Oh, man. But at the same time, he managed to be endearing. Like, I do not like Sasuke from Naruto at all, but I do like Uryu, and I do think it works that they kind of he like, again, the humor thing. He kind of does show the contrast between how Uryu acts and how they act, and kind of makes Uryu the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
It works in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Khan? Do you guys feel
Okay.
Con's great.
I like
Yeah.
him. I was so happy he stuck around.
I've never liked God.
Yeah.
Really? I
Khan
like
is
him.
not one of my
Crazy.
favorites. He is very. Maybe when I was younger, I was more into Khan, I guess. But now I'm just like, I mean, he's pretty funny sometimes. I'll say begrudgingly, sometimes Khan is funny.
Yeah, he has its moments. I mean,
Yeah.
he's pretty great. I don't know. I like Khan. I
like
think
it.
that he can lighten a moment when other characters need to be serious, and I think that's the the role that he plays.
Yeah.
What's hard for me about Khan, and I think the reason why every time he's there, I'm just like, oh God, is because he winds up being the cause of so many different, like, when you're watching a show and something embarrassing is going to happen and you just want to fast forward or leave.
Oh
the room.
no.
Like, Khan makes me feel that way sometimes, where I'm just
It's like very, very cringe-inducing.
oh no, yeah, I just want to like,
Maybe that's why I like him. I haven't gotten too much of him yet. I mean, he's not the strongest. Oh, go ahead.
My favorite Khan moments are the one. Cause there's like a couple times where like it's like Ichigo and Uryu are just like having this big, intense conversation, and Khan just like in the corner, like I am not in the right atmosphere here. Like he's like sweating, like what am I doing here? Like, they're way too intense for me. Like that's funny. So he does add some nice humor to some serious scenes, but
Yeah. What about Hat and Clogs? Yorohara. About his clan.
alright, yeah.
I like him more way later. Like later, he's great. Right now, take her, leave him.
right now he's just kind of like I'm enigmatic. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so mysterious.
My hat covers half my
Every manga has
face.
that character.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he has a good presence though, and I think the crew is funny. I really like what's her name, Ururu with the big gun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
great.
my god, I love her.
I do like that. Yeah. But right now, Urahara, he's like hinting that he's gonna be a cool character, but right now he's just more like, ooh, I'm mysterious. Who is this guy?
Yeah. He doesn't do a whole lot here. Except like be like, everybody watch Ichigo because he's gonna do something real cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just gonna be good.
It's gonna be so great. Should we talk about art?
Sure.
Talk about art?
Sure.
I loved the art for this series. It's so clean and crisp, and you can tell everything's going on. Their clothes is amazing. I love fashion in manga, and when they don't wear the same thing every single day, oh my god, I love it. It makes me so happy. And so the chapter, the opening like panels for each chapter, the cover pages for them, I loved them so much. And so, and I always hear that Tide loves fashion. And that he takes a lot of inspiration from fashion magazines, and you could totally see it in those. And I just would stare at those. It's not like they're amazing or anything. I just loved their clothes. They looked really cool, and that they weren't all just edgy and sad. It was like, didn't even necessarily go with the chapter. So I enjoyed that a lot, seeing what each one was going to be.
So basically, like they're all Killua. Like every character in this song is basically Killua.
Yeah.
from Hunter x Hunter.
That is a positive for characters that I love. They change clothes.
Maybe Titty would have been better off being a fashion designer. He's really good at it.
He's good at it, yeah.
And like, I mean, his character design's really good, and his outfit designs are really good. Maybe he would have been better at that than trying to write a story. But
who's the celebrity whose kid was like, I'm gonna write my own manga, and then all of the pictures were just traced Bleach pages.
What?
Oh no, I remember this. What the
who was that?
Oh my gosh.
I'll look it up.
I remember recently
It
Britney
was
Spears.
Gene Simmons' son.
Oh my god, what?
Because it was Incarnate. Oh man.
I remember seeing the like side-by-side panels. It's literally identical. It's so
exactly
good.
same.
Oh, that's hilarious. There's some really good. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I also really love the Bleach art. I think that it starts off good and it just gets better. So
Yeah, it's always been good. Even like comparing it to like Naruto and One Piece's starts, much stronger in terms of like art. Right from the get-go. He's really good at it.
Yeah. That's what I noticed, because a lot of times, like you said, in early shonen or just early manga, the art, especially, like, is this his first one? Is this his first series
Did he have
he had like
short
3
one for that?
a short one
he had,
before?
like, yeah, like 2 or 3 short ones before that from what I saw.
Okay, so like the first like long series, it's very easy to tell, oh, the art is so amateur, but because of the story, it's going to be real good. His art starts off awesome. It starts off crisp. Yeah, it starts off strong. Like, you can tell every character apart. The backgrounds look great. Even the perspective, when a character is just standing there or giving a speech, it feels very refreshing and different. Each panel looks like he cared a lot about every single one. And he does very good. He is very good with fight scenes and making it all flow very well, too. So I was really impressed with the art from the start.
Yeah, I liked it way more than I expected to like it. Like, I don't know. There's this stigma against the big three where people automatically just write it off as like, oh, it's just mediocre schlock, whatever. You can just kind of take or leave it. But no, this is like really good. Like, at least from a visual standpoint.
Because they started strong, right?
Exactly. So like I thought in terms of the art, I love all the character designs, especially Don Kananji. Best character design. Like, I don't know. It's great design. And like Erin pointed out, all the fashion sense for the characters. I don't know. I think it makes them interesting to look at. And yeah, just everything visually in this manga is great. It's just later the writing becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think anyone has ever said, "Nah, Titty can't draw worth a shit." No, it's always, "Oh no, the manga, like the story goes to hell."
Except maybe backgrounds, but anyway.
But I mean, is backgrounds like him, or is that his assistants?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know, but
he did have lots of different editors, so maybe he had lots of different assistants. Who knows?
That's what you said. Yeah, nobody. It ended up just being him. No one wanted to work with him. He's just alone.
Who is it? Is it Toriyama, who's always done like everything and never has any assistants?
probably.
I think so. I think.
Can't imagine that.
That seems legit.
No. Oh my gosh. I could not. It's just so intense alone. Yeah. Sweet. Do you guys have any other things you would like to touch on that we didn't bring up? Otherwise, we can do final thoughts and ratings. It's going to be hard for you guys to rate this, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give a rating of the 50 chapters and then overall. Is there anything else?
I feel like...
I think I'm good to go.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. We touched on basically
I did. The only thing that I would say, just to like wrap up the whole, man, you know, the story started so strong, but it kind of goes in a weird place. I feel like any of these stories, almost across the board, there's a point at which the mangaka says, oh yeah, the story was supposed to end here, right? And they didn't want me to end it. Yeah. So I do feel bad being like, Titty, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I know that he's one of those people who has been like, I wanted this to end much earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a cash cow and they wanted me to keep going, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's gotta be so frustrating.
Really good content out of it and like
Yeah.
a good story for a while.
It's gotta be
It's better
so
than
frustrating as like a creator just to have it be told, well, we know you wanted to end it there, but now you gotta be better for another 500 chapters. It's just
Yeah.
like, how do I, what? So.
Like the last 30 seconds of this manga pod makes me want to reread Bakuman.
Oh, yeah.
Bakuman. I love Bakuman. Bakuman's fucking great.
We should read Bakuman again.
I'm down.
Anyways.
What happened? You got it? Sorry, chat's exploding, and I'm like, I don't know what happened. Everybody's like, oh my god, that was the best. Yay, yay. And I'm just like,
What?
what happened?
What happened?
And David just waved me off. I looked at him like, what? And he just goes, I got it.
Yeah.
The stream went max head drum for a sec.
Oh shit.
It was a really weird glitch.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, like the sound from the stream went like.
It was a hollow.
Perfect.
Great.
Great.
It was a hollow. It makes sense.
This manga's cursed.
Yeah. Oh, great. Final thoughts and ratings? Anyone want to go first?
I don't want to go first.
I guess.
I'll go first.
Okay,
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna give 2 ratings. One for the 50 chapters, and then one for everything else Bleach related that I've experienced. These first 50 chapters are off to a pretty amazing start. I know that in the long term, a lot of what happens here is kind of irrelevant to the overall story. But if I wouldn't have experienced beyond this, I wouldn't have that information. So looking specifically at these 50 chapters, I feel like an 8 is a fair score. Like an 8 out of 10 is a fair score for this manga. That said, factoring what I know happens to the stories in terms of like plot progression and character development, and just so many things that go wrong with this manga later on. I feel like a 5 is a fair score because it while it is mediocre, maybe a little worse than mediocre, it still has a nice visual presentation, so I have to give it some point for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8. So what we read is definitely an 8. The arc after what we read is probably an 8.5, and then it just a gradual slope down, and then it picks up for a little bit, and then it goes down again.
I'll go. Pretty similar scores, I think. Like, yeah, first 50 chapters, really fun. If it had just stayed in that cozy slice of lifey town, I think it could have been something really, really good. 8 out of 10 for those first 50. The problem with Bleach is you think that he has all these great plans and knows what's going to happen next, and it's going to be such great payoff. He doesn't. So it really goes down to like 5. I won't go to a 4. 5. Yeah, 5. Because I mean, the next arc is really good. It's very different, but it's really good. And you're like, oh man, you're excited for what comes next, and you are disappointed. At least I was very disappointed. I didn't finish reading it, to be fair, but looking at because I wikied it, like, well, what happens, and I don't think I missed out. So I'm gonna say 5 out of 10 for everything. But who knows? Read it. Maybe you'll maybe you won't feel that way. Maybe you'll love it all the way through. I'd be surprised, but maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna give 2 scores, it would be an 8 out of 10 for this section for me as well. But I would probably, like, looking back on everything that I read, like taking into account everything I read up until I just sort of stopped, I would still give it probably like a 6. I still like enjoyed it, you know, and I still was attached enough to the world and the characters that it's not like I was sitting there going, Bleach is dead to me. Like I still got some entertainment out of it, even when things didn't necessarily always make sense. So I would give it a 6, I think.
10 out of 10 for the whole thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Entire thing. All
Flawless,
650.
yeah.
Flawless. Beach is flawless. I think I'm going to give this section because I just really enjoyed it and had everything that I love in a shonen and also kind of in manga in general, what I'm looking for in this sort of genre. So I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I loved everything about it. And it's really hard for me to look at it and say what I hate about it, really. And so I did thoroughly enjoy all of it. I love the characters. I like the humor. I love the art so much. Maybe it should just be a 10 out of 10 because I don't know. I can't think of something that I didn't like about it, really. 10 out of 10.
Make it a 10.
10 out of 10. I love it. Bleach is great. These haters over here.
Just don't keep reading them.
Sorry. I'm scared too. I'm like, maybe I will just stop. Maybe Bleach is only 50 chapters to me. I never read anything more.
Look, live your bliss.
Like, wait, maybe one more arc, but then stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's hard to stop there. Like, cause it like goes right into the next one. I don't know.
That's a gamble you may have to take, Erin. It's up to you.
Or just go balls in, just go all the way, read it all the way to the end, and you love it, and it's like your new favorite of all time.
Every manga pod from now on is Bleach pod. Sorry,
Please
guys. No. Please no. Awesome. Well, that wraps up our discussion on Bleach. I'm going to go ahead and read the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and everybody in chat gets to guess what it is. Dodger knows because she accidentally read it this week.
Whoops.
Oops. All right. The story follows Blank, a young man who has a history of blank. After being infatuated with Blank on a peer from his time in the military, he decides to enter Blank's home while he is out of his house. Blank is then discovered by Blank, who is revealed to be a Blank. The two of them enter a highly manipulative and abusive relationship that brings out both of their pasts as they grow closer together, exposing some dark secrets from both of their problem-ridden pasts. Their pasts are very important in this series. All right, everybody gonna get it? Everybody gonna get it? Black Butler, no.
Yep.
It is a manhwa. All right, no. Killing Stalking!
Yeah.
Manga 1. We're reading Killing Stalking. Major
18 plus.
18 plus warning.
18 plus NC-17
Please.
rating.
Just so you know, going into it, major. So we are reading that next week. We are reading all of part 1 is what we will be discussing. Let's go ahead and shout out our stuff super fast. Again, I am Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/happilyerin. It's basically the MangaPod channel as of late, but I do have a bunch of previous anime reviews and anime first impressions and mental health awareness stuff. I've been working on a novel, so that's kind of taken all of my time doing stuff, but I am much more active on other social media, specifically Twitter and Instagram, and that's Happily Erin all across the everything.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger. You can find me at DexBonus on pretty much everything. I also have a coffee company that you can find at dodgercoffeeco.com, and I'm actually going to be going to Florida this weekend and doing a little stream while I'm there and doing coffee business stuff. So that's exciting. But yeah, come hang out. I make dumb jokes. That's all I got. That's all I got for you.
Cool. My name's Lou, and I'm from a YouTube channel called Lou Talks Anime, where I don't know what the hell I do on there. That's a thing that exists. I'm more of a Twitter guy now. I spent so much of like my personal time that was dedicated to YouTube, doing stuff for work. So I work with special needs kids, for those of you that don't know. And yeah, so that's where all my time goes. But I don't know, talk to me on Twitter. I've been watching Land of the Lustrous, which is really good. And you'll probably see me gushing about that on there shortly after MangaPod finishes. So yeah, let's have a conversation.
Awesome.
Sungwon, also known as ProZD. I'm a voice actor, and I also do skits and other whatever I feel like online, YouTube, ProZD, Twitch. Just Google ProZD, you'll find me. And I hope if you make this podcast, the Bleach Pod, that I will be the future co-host for that. Is Bleach Pod the new Tide Pod? Is that what that is?
You can eat this one.
Right.
Great for you.
Yeah, eat a Bleach Pod. But thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We loved
Yeah,
having
you were great,
you. You were
yes.
great.
Oh,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you so much. And thank you all on YouTube and Twitch who are watching this live. We really appreciate it. We hope that you will join us. Wait, just kidding. If you want more MangaPod, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. You can find the schedule for everything up until the end of June there, as well as a recommendation thread. If there's a manga or manhwa that you would like to see us check out, go ahead and comment it there. Or if it's already there, go ahead and upvote it. We will see you guys same time, same place next week. And we'll be discussing killing stalking, because apparently I pronounced it stalking last time. All of part 1. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.